Okay, we are live. ¿Qué tal, amigos? Stuart here from Spain Speaks with this evening's live update, taking a look at some of the main stories that have caught my attention in the press here in Spain. Some comments that have been left on the channel by viewers also we'll take a look at, and we'll go into the chat section in the second half of the video and take a look at what is happening there. So if you are watching in the live stream this evening, say hello. Or if you are watching the video after the live stream, say hello in that chat section. I love to hear the comments from you guys. Now we'll get straight into the news. And travel chaos is the title of today's video, because you wouldn't believe it, but Spain's most important airport, Madrid Barajas, and its newest terminal there, Terminal 4, yesterday was plunged into an absolute chaos when a computer system failure, left people stranded in that airport. And as we can see here, maybe it's going to damage Spain's reputation as a tourist destination where millions of people come to visit. As we can see here, transport chaos threatens Spain's reputation at the start of the peak tourist season. Delays and breakdowns across Spain's transport network are casting a shadow over the start of the summer tourist season. Faulty trains during a major holiday travel period and long queues at Madrid Barajas Airport have triggered concern within the tourism industry, which warns that such logistical chaos could seriously damage Spain's global image as a safe and efficient destination. A recent catenary failure on Renfe's high-speed rail left trains packed with tourists stranded, with one traveller calling it a reputational disaster for Spain. Just a day later, an IT failure and understaffing at passport control in Madrid airport caused hours-long queues and missed flights. With only 8 of 16 passport booths manned, thousands of international travellers were affected. Excel Tour, the Tourism Industry Association, has urged the Interior Ministry or the Home Ministry to ensure this is not repeated, highlighting that while Spain has excellent infrastructure, the real challenge lies in its effective management. And yes, indeed it does. It's the management of the tourism infrastructure here in Spain which is being put in the spotlight at the moment. Problems with computers at Madrid Barajas Airport Terminal 4, also undermanned booths there on passport controls, people waiting for hours to get through, and of course the train chaos that we saw earlier in the week when the train on Sunday evening, I think it was, or Monday, not sure the exact day, stopped, or various trains couldn't move, and passengers stuck for 14 hours on the train, on some trains in the Toledo province, in very, very hot temperatures indeed. So Spain needs to get its act together, or the government needs to get its act together as far as the infrastructure is concerned, because with so many people coming, and the government wants more and more people to come, so does the tourist industry, of course, trying to crack the 100 million international visitor mark. Not good if your infrastructure is breaking down at critical times, which has been the case. So it's up to the government. It is up to the government, in my opinion. Now, as a result of the trains breaking down the other day, the infrastructure company that controls the rail network here, ADIF, has spoken, and surprise, surprise, they're blaming one of the operators for the issues. As we can read here, Ouigo train blamed for power failure that halted the AVE line between Madrid and Seville. ADIF, Spain's rail infrastructure manager, has identified a stationary Ouigo train as the origin of the power outage that paralyzed high-speed AVE services between Madrid and Seville. According to ADIF's findings, the Ouigo train lost communication with the signalling systems and came to a stop, causing 4 other trains to halt behind it. While waiting, all the trains requested continued power from the overhead lines to maintain essential onboard services such as air conditioning. Although Ouigo denies causing the actual power failure, it acknowledges that its halted train indirectly led to the disruption of other services. ADIF has since repaired the damaged catenary in the Toledo province. The incident led to widespread disruption and passenger frustration during key summer travel period. As investigations continue, both ADIF and Ouigo are working to clarify responsibilities and avoid further issues during Spain's peak tourist season. So the Rail Infrastructure Manager, a DIF, a government-run company, of course, blaming the competition that it has with the local rail operator Renfe, Ouigo, a French company, copying the blame there from that company for the problems earlier in the week. They're saying not our fault, of course, but they do admit that their train did stop, blocking the rest of the trains. But of course, as we saw, it was the catenary failure which is due to infrastructure that collapsed, and a DIF has now come out and said that they're looking into fixing that as well. So that would be a good idea, but of course always a good idea for that company to blame the foreign operators, the competition to the rail network operator here, Renfe, the formerly, oh maybe it still is, a state rail operator. In fact, I think it is the state rail operator, Renfe. But of course, now with some more freedom for other companies to come in and use the lines here in Spain, causing issues according to a DIF. So no doubt a government ministry mandate there. Blame the foreigners for this one as well, because as we know here in Spain, foreigners and tourists do tend to cop the blame for a lot of the problems happening in the country. Let's leave it at that. Next piece of news here, and anyone in Spain at the moment would know that it is boiling hot and Spain is bracing for possibly the hottest summer in history. Spain is experiencing an exceptionally intense start to the summer, with scorching daytime highs of over 40 degrees Celsius in many areas, sweltering nights and record sea temperatures turning the Mediterranean into a soup. June 2025 has already become the hottest June on record, surpassing previous peaks in 2017, 2003, 2005 and 2022. The recent heat wave, beginning on the 28th of June, shattered records, with El Granado in Huelva reaching an unprecedented 46 degrees Celsius, eclipsing the 1965 Seville record of 45.2. Meteorologists warn that if these conditions persist, summer 2025 could become the hottest in Spain's recorded history. Rubén del Campo from AEMET notes that while it's too early to confirm, forecasts suggest a very hot season, potentially within the top 20% of the warmest summers ever. Meteorologist Mar Gomez also highlights June's extreme anomaly, marking the most significant temperature deviation in over a century, as both alarming and historically significant. All signs point to an exceptionally hot summer ahead. So there we go. We're getting ready for the hottest summer possibly in history. Of course, not confirmed yet. We still have a couple of months to go, but it's shaping up that way given the high June temperatures, and we might get over those peaks that we saw in previous years here. And I remember July around 6 or 7 years ago. In fact, it might have even been the 2017 or maybe 2022. Can't remember exactly which one, where it was also very, very hot. Now, I know what the skeptics are saying. It's Spain. It's always hot in Spain in summer. That is true, but we are breaking records according to the experts out there, the meteorologists that keep the records and tell us about the weather, of course, and breaking records, especially with nighttime temperatures, and those are the issue for many, many people. What they call these tropical nights, very, very difficult to sleep because temperatures don't drop below 25 degrees Celsius in some parts of the country. Good for those with air conditioning, they can get to sleep okay, but for people that don't have air conditioning, and believe me, many people don't have air conditioning, suffer with these tropical nights, and that's why you see so many people outside at such late hours of the evening, early morning, trying to beat the heat here in Spain with, as I said, records possibly going to be broken, as we saw here, according to the AEMET. Let us know your thoughts in the chat or comment section, how you are dealing with the heat currently, whether you like it, whether you dislike the extreme temperatures that we have. Next piece of news now, and some bad news for the youth of Spain, because many people may have to retire at 71 to receive a decent pension. Future generations in Spain may need to work until the age of 71 to secure a pension equal to their final salary, according to a new study by the Valencian Institute of Economic Research and the BBVA Foundation. The report forecasts that those who only manage to contribute 30 years by 2065 will be required to delay retirement to 71. By contrast, workers with 40 years of contributions into the system could retire at 65, while those with 35 years in paying into the system would need to wait until 68. The increasing delay in entering the job market means today's youth will struggle to build long enough careers to retire comfortably at the standard age. The study highlights a significant drop in employment among 16 to 29-year-olds from 58.7% in 2007 to 43.2% in 2024. As a result, many will have no choice but to remain in the workforce longer to secure a dignified retirement income. So that is what some youth will have in the future. That's what they'll have to look forward to, retiring at a later age, 71. Some people, because of their late entry into the labour market, which, as we know, a lot of young people in this country don't get decent jobs or steady jobs until they're well into their 20s. And of course, that comes back to haunt them in later years because of the retirement or the pension system in this country and how it is calculated. And as we saw there, maybe 71, 65 for some people that are lucky enough to work for many, many years, and 68, another retirement age. So I'm sure the youth of this country will hit the streets complaining in future years about this development in the pension system. And the final piece of news, 5 pieces of news today, and bad news for the tourism sector here, according to CaixaBank, or possibly bad news in the future, as it is warning of a decline in US tourism due to a drop in the dollar and Donald Trump's return. CaixaBank research has warned of a slowdown in US tourism to Spain, which could reduce Spain's tourism-related GDP growth by up to 1 point in 2025, though the sector is still expected to grow by 2.7%, outpacing the national economy. The decline is attributed to the weakening of the US dollar against the euro, a cooling US economy, and increased political uncertainty following Donald Trump's victory over Kamala Harris in November 2024. This election marked a turning point. U.S. tourist arrivals dropped from 17.5% year-on-year growth January to October 2024 to just 2.3% between November and May 2025. Similarly, U.S. card spending in Spain, which had risen by 17% annually until October, fell by an average of 2.2% thereafter. In 2024, 4.26 million Americans visited Spain, 4.5% of total arrivals, spending 9.1 billion euros, 7.1% of the total, but signs now point to a notable weakening in this key long-haul market. So as we see the key long-haul market, US visitors to Spain dropping, and those are the reasons. A weaker dollar and the Donald Trump effect on their economy. So we'll see if this does indeed continue as a trend and US visitors to Spain drop off. Time will tell. Let's have a look at some comments that have been left. Let's have a look at some comments that have been left on the channel in recent times. One here by Oliver. Greetings, Stu, from the Costas. Stay cool. Thanks, Oliver, for that. I'll try to stay cool. Not easy in the hot room that I have here with the lights bearing down on me. Somebody told me not to wear black because it attracts the heat, but black is one of the only colors that I have in t-shirts at the moment. I might have to extend my range of colors, but yeah, that could be one of the reasons. And coming in from the Costas, which have also been very hot and very humid in recent times, I believe, Oliver. So thanks for the comment there, and greetings back to you. Another one here from NYCH Fan, new subscriber, and I wanted to say I really enjoyed this. Your comments are very entertaining. I could use all the humor I can get here in the US. Thanks, NYCH Fan. Thanks for tuning in, and thanks for hitting that subscribe button. While I'm on the topic, I'll just mention it. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, it doesn't cost any money. Hit the subscribe button. Do me a favor, and we'll see if we can get up to the 100,000 subscriber mark this year, which is my objective. Coming in from New York, I think that comment, if I can find it here, new subscriber, really enjoyed the videos. Thanks for that. Don't know whether you're planning a trip to Spain or you have been to Spain in recent times. Don't know, but the previous news article that we saw there, maybe your fellow compatriots are not going to be travelling as much to Europe or to Spain this year, according to the CaixaBank research. Not my research, CaixaBank research. Another comment here from Kristen. Less than 1.5% of all housing units in Spain are used as tourist rentals. Blaming tourist rentals for the housing crisis is simply smoke and mirrors. Thanks for the comment. Yes, that is true. 1.5% of housing. Don't know if that is the correct statistic or not there, Kristen, but I'll take your word for it. But more or less, I'm referring to blaming tourist rentals for the housing crisis, smoke and mirrors. And let's be honest, the current government here in Spain, the Sanchez-led coalition government, is the expert when it comes to smoke and mirrors. In fact, they make David Copperfield look like a rank amateur, Pedro Sanchez and company, because every time there's a scandal, the smoke and mirrors appear and people's attention is deflected because they're very good at doing that. We'll see another comment in a moment related to the same topic. But yes, the Sanchez government, scandal after scandal hitting the press, deflecting every way they can, and of course this is one way that they can deflect, as well as some of the other issues that we see in the newspapers here that sort of pop up on a daily basis that take the headlines. But the kings of smoke and mirrors, the Sanchez government. Thanks for that, Kristen. Another one here from New World Soldier. It's proven that every time the Sanchez government has a problem with the scandal, a trial, or a lot of TV coverage, there's a problem with the trains. Thanks, New World Soldier. That's what I was referring to before. Every time there is a scandal, whether it's the Prime Minister's brother, whether it's the number 2 or number 3 of his party getting involved in a corruption scandal, something happens that seems to dominate the papers for a couple of days. Last week it was Donald Trump and NATO, which took the press's attention away from the corruption scandals. But difficult to get the attention away from the corruption scandals because they're such a huge corruption scandals. We're talking about public money. There's going to be investigations all over the place. Now there are accusations that it was European money that was being used, turned into infrastructure projects, and people taking their cut. So it's going to be interesting to see. It might take years to come to some type of conclusion. The European Union is investigating, of course, as well, because all of the money that they've given to Spain in recent times with these next generation funds, trying to rebuild the Spanish economy after COVID. But there's always seems to be someone in the middle there rubbing their hands with glee whenever the European Union signs the documents and the money comes into Spain, the billions and billions of euros, it seems. And these politicians think that they can get away with it, but of course the police has been on their tails, and no doubt we'll see a lot more information and a lot more victims, or a lot more. I'm not going to say that really the use of victim, I don't think would be the word, but many more heads apparently are going to roll if you listen to the press regarding these corruption scandals. And the Prime Minister trying to reshape his political party, trying to weed out all of the the people that could be possibly affected in the future, and to start from scratch. But I don't know whether that's possible for Mr. Sanchez. But again, we're living in Spain, and stranger things have happened in the past. Thanks, New World. Another one here from KT. I live in Barcelona, and the heat here is very oppressive and humid. June was never like this before. Thanks, KT. Yeah, the Madrid-Barcelona debate was on the table the other day. Which city offers the higher quality of life here in Spain? Is it Madrid? Is it Barcelona? I know where my loyalties lie, the city that I have lived on the outskirts of now for more than 20 years, and previously in the middle of it, Madrid, of course. And when it comes to the heat, some people were saying the other day, oh no, Barcelona's fantastic. We love it. It's Mediterranean climate. But as we saw there from the Barcelona resident, the heat is oppressive. It's hot here too, but it's a dry heat. And anyone who knows the difference between the two, the dry heat or that humid heat that you get here on the coastal regions, Barcelona, all the way down to Malaga, Oppressive is the word. Recently I went to Murcia. I'll say that word again because somebody mentioned in the comment section, how's this guy pronouncing the word Murcia? Well, I'm pronouncing it like 48 million Spanish people do, my friend. Murcia. That's how you spell it. Not Murcia, not Murcia. It's Murcia. And the heat there was also oppressive. When you open the car door and hop out for the first time from that air-conditioned comfort, bang, you get smacked in the face. And I imagine Barcelona's the same. But here in Madrid, a drier heat. If we can take anything away from it, it's a pro. And the final comment here from Sean. Stu, do you think our Spanish friends could pronounce Waterloo? Are there words in Spanish with the letter W? Thanks, Sean. Unfortunately for you, with that surname there, Williams, you're not going to be in luck here in Spain getting people to pronounce your name correctly because the letter W does not exist natively in the Spanish language. There are words with the letter W, but they're normally foreign imported words. I could be wrong. If I am, please correct me. But I also have a surname that begins with the letter W, and nobody here has been able to crack the correct pronunciation of that W sound. Now, I'm not complaining because I understand that it's a foreign letter. Words like whiskey are in the Spanish dictionary, but of course it's an imported word. Waterloo would be another one. Washington would be another one. And the Spanish people, when they pronounce the letter W, it's either a B sound, like for example water, they would say bater, ¿dónde está el bater? Meaning where's the toilet, because of the WC, water closet. And also when it comes to names like Gu, for example, Williams, it would be pronounced with like a Gu sound, Williams. There's a Spanish football player called Iñaki Williams who is from the Basque Country. I don't think he was, I think he was, just let me see if I can find a picture of Iñaki Williams to put on the screen. See if I can find one here. I think I took a photo earlier today. Here we go. So here we have Iñaki Williams. Now, I don't think, obviously his heritage is African, as we can see there, but he was born in Pamplona or somewhere like that. Iñaki is a typical name up there in the Basque Country, and of course his surname Williams. Now this would be Iñaki Williams, I think would be the way that the majority of people would pronounce that, but there is of course some names or some words that begin with the letter W, but they're imported, as I said before, and the one that springs to mind is whiskey, but of course with Iñaki Williams, things change, and of course people are getting more used to pronouncing that letter, albeit mostly incorrectly, I would say. And I can speak from experience, given my surname begins with W or W or W, however you want to pronounce it here in Spain with the W. Now, let me see if I can get this picture off the screen here. There we go. Now, I'm going to go into the chat section in just a moment. Let me see if I can organize that. There we go, the live chat. Before I get into the chat, I need to do a couple of things. The first one is put the like icon on the screen. 82 likes, 300 people watching. So hit the like button, please. Do us a favor. We'll see if we can get up to a decent tally of likes today. It doesn't cost anything either. Hit the like icon. Or the dislike, whatever you want to do. No dramas, no dramas. Another thing I need to do is also reveal the backdrop photo. This photo was sent in by Fred, who is a resident here in Spain, I believe. Patreon also. Sent in this picture. Not sure exactly where this is, but I think it's Benidorm. Of course it's Benidorm. It's Benidorm, the Mediterranean Mecca for British tourists. There it is, half British, half Spanish, Benidorm. And a lovely picture from sent in by Fred of the calm Mediterranean, the place where you can leave your towel at 7 o'clock in the morning on the beach, right on the shoreline, come back at 12 o'clock midday, and it'll still be dry given the tidal activity in that part of the world. Thanks, Fred, for sending the picture through. If you have a similar picture that you would like to see on the backdrop, the email is this one here. If I can find it, there we go, spainspeaks@gmail.com. Feel free to send your pictures through to that address, as Fred has done. I put the call out the other day for pictures, and thanks to the response, plenty of people have sent me through numerous photos, so we should be able to put a decent photo on the backdrop in upcoming live streams, which is all part of the experience here. Now I'm going to de-blur, if I can get that word out, the background, so people can see the shot there, at least of the skyscrapers in Benidorm. One of those places here in Spain that you either love or you hate is Benidorm. Some people rave about the place. Some people can't stand the place. You might be somewhere on either one of those extremes, or somewhere in the middle, which is where I sit on Benidorm. I've had some good experiences in Benidorm, and some regular experiences according on the time of the year that you visit as well. Food. I saw a British food vlogger recently in, I think it was maybe not Benidorm, but he was in Benidorm, I think, 6 months ago, but he's recently in Mallorca. And I bring this up because I was surprised that you come to Spain and you don't eat Spanish food. I understand that he's a junk food blogger or a fast food blogger, kebabs and burgers and things like this, English breakfasts and things like that. But you come to Spain, try the cuisine. Try the cuisine. Try the cuisine. It's not going to kill you, although that other stuff might. Now, comment section I'm going to go to in just a moment. I'm going to thank people that have supported the channel. Many people have bought me a coffee in recent times. I think Elle, the most recent person to buy me a coffee. I hope I've pronounced that name correctly. Thank you very much, Elle, for that. Super thanks here on YouTube as well. Great supporters through the super thanks. Longer term supporters on Patreon, like Fred here, the owner of the picture. And also the channel members of the YouTube channel. Thank you very much for that ongoing support as well. The regular support of the channel, which, as I said, helps keep me making videos, basically. It's the way it works. Now, chat section. Let me open it up there. Let's see what's bubbling away in the chat section. Let's see if we can get some interesting comments, as always, that we do here. Andrew's the first person that I can see coming in from the UK, London southeast. Fortunately, the temperature's a little cooler there today. I imagine that is a relief for Andrew. It's been hot in the UK as well, unseasonably hot, I believe. Harry, valued member also, bought me another coffee the other day, Harry too. Big shout out there, Harry. And Aurora coming in from Edinburgh. Thanks, guys, for watching. Wonder what the weather's like in Edinburgh currently. Hi Flyer, John, 1965, evening Stu and everyone. Hoping everyone is well. Have a great remainder of the week. Thanks for that. Sarni's in the chat too, coming in from Basingstoke. Cooler there, hot but slightly cooler. Hope everyone is okay. Thanks for that. Janet's coming in from Oxford, valued member 2. Good to see you, Janet. Veronica, haven't seen Veronica in the chat section before, coming in from Texas in the United States, where I imagine it's also hot. I imagine it's also hot there. Renan coming in from LA, the city of angels, Los Angeles, California. Good to see you, Renan. DMC saying Spain speaks English. Thanks for the comment there. Spain speaks English. To be fair, airport system failures are not uncommon worldwide. Thanks, Andrew. Yeah, but we're talking about a country that's trying to promote mass tourism. And when you get people queued up at the airport for hours and hours on end, missing their flights, and the train system also breaking down, I can imagine. If it happens at a small regional airport, no dramas. But when it happens at one of the biggest airports in one of the most visited countries in the world, and you haven't got police manning the customs booths or the passport control booths as you should have, you get issues. But yeah, not uncommon, but of course they seem to happen at the wrong time here in Spain. Fluttergirl coming in from a warm Toronto airport. Madrid airport always has had long queues. I nearly missed the connecting flight once. That is true. Terminal 4 normally has a long along not really a passport control, but just getting through security. It's ridiculous the amount of time that you have to spend there. Even when you catch a domestic flight, you still got to go through the passport controls. If you're taking an Iberia flight or one of their partners, the people that use Terminal 4, not so bad when you go to some of the other terminals. You tend to get through there a little bit quicker, in my experience, of course, but Terminal 4, Terminal 4. Joaquin, socialism at its best. Spain will rise up against Pedro Sanchez and vote in the right box. You will see. Thanks, Joaquin. Unfortunately, we're probably going to have to wait for elections because Pedro Sanchez is not going anywhere. I was talking about this the other day. With someone. I don't want to compare countries or democracies, but in other systems that I have seen, normally what happens that when you get these scandals and the prime minister's on the ropes, somebody from within the party will stand up and challenge the prime minister. But of course, that doesn't happen here because there's no democracy in these political parties, basically, and no one has the, I'm going to use this word again, the cojones to stand up to Mr. Sanchez inside his own party or people close to him. Maybe it'll come from outside the main group. I don't know. We'll see what happens, but not a lot of dissenting voices in the political parties here. That is for sure. Rappers 57, as you pointed out, Stu, you can't have that many people coming to the country without something giving. Again, maybe the infrastructure is only for fewer people. I don't know. Maybe it's overused. Maybe that's the problem as well. Maybe there are too many trains on the tracks. Maybe competition shouldn't have come into the train system if it's not ready for it. Maybe if you know that you're expecting 100 million tourists throughout the year, maybe you need to put more police on. Maybe you need to get your IT systems up to scratch. But anyway. Steve's saying that his flight to the USA leaves on Saturday at 1:30 p.m. What time should you be at Terminal 1? I would just go within the normal time frame to catch an international flight. Steve, probably getting to the airport, 2.5 hours before, maybe 3. Looking at some of the other options that you've got, maybe with online check-ins and things like that, depending on how many bags you've got, what class you're flying in. If you're in business class, you normally don't have any problems at all to get through the checks. But of course, if you're sitting in economy, or as you guys say, in coach, it might be a little bit longer. So 2.5 hours, I would say. But Terminal 1, not as bad as Terminal 4. So if that's any consolation, but let's hope that there's no problems next week. Michael coming in from a warm Denver in Colorado. How quickly would a jamon spoil in 104 degrees Fahrenheit? To be honest, I don't know, because we don't normally have a jamon around in the summer months because they do dry out, so I can't give you an exact time frame, but I'm sure there are some Spanish people in the chat section watching currently that can give you some expert advice on keeping your leg of ham or whatever it is that you have there fresh. Restaurants, of course, have good air conditioning and always keep these things in some type of special storage. At home, what can you do? I don't know, to stop it from drying out. I know a lot of people that I've seen tend to buy hams in the cooler months where you can have them, sitting around, not being affected by the heat. But again, I'm sure somebody will be able to shed some light on that topic. What else we got going on here? Sounds awful, that heat. Thank you very much. It does indeed sound awful. Imagine experiencing it. What else we got going on here? What's going on with EasyJet cancelling flights from Gibraltar at the last minute? Well, it's called EasyJet. Don't know the exact reason, but there have been flights or problems with EasyJet because of strike action on the ground here in Spain. Maybe it's related to that battle morph. I don't know. I think we saw last week that EasyJet had cancelled various flights because of that industrial action. tends to happen every year with the low-cost operators, but don't know the exact reason. Tai Chi saying, hi, I remember the 2005 heat wave. We went down to the beach, Los Locos Playa, at 1 in the morning to cool off in the sea. It was so uncomfortable. Hasta luego. Thanks, Tai Chi. Hasn't changed much. Hasn't changed much. What else we got going on here? Let's have a look here quickly. French air traffic control strike. Maybe that was the EasyJet issue. Don't know. Don't know. What else? Let's have a look here. Hedge saying the so-called experts use slanted data. There we go. So another one not believing what the experts are telling us because the data's rigged. Thanks for that. What else? Gene saying, well, my travel plans to Spain are for next year, so hopefully it will be better then. Hopefully, Gene, it will be better then. We don't know. I mean, you know, these things are not happening every day. It's been a bit of a bad run lately with the trains and with the airport. I think it was yesterday, and of course, those images give a bad look to the country as a whole. But yeah, the British press picked that up on it pretty quickly, saying that there were fights. Fights had broken out at the airport. Didn't see anything like that in the Spanish press, so maybe there was a scuffle or two. I don't know. Manny's in the chat. I subscribed immediately. Can't wait to get to Bilbao next week. Your channel and description of Bilbao when you went a while ago made me pull the trigger on a piso there last year. Thanks, Manny, for that. Bilbao, I went there last year, I think, if I remember correctly. I think it was in June, maybe. I went to Santander and also to Bilbao on the same trip. And yeah, every time I go to Bilbao, I'm more impressed by the city than I was the last time, if that makes sense. Good luck with your purchase there, Manny. Pinecone, my plans for travel our next year too. Hello from Detroit. Thanks. I think I understood that. My plans for travel next year too. Thanks from Detroit. Thanks for that. Pinecone, good luck with your trip. Many saying the Sanchez government is bad for sure, but the Trump government is way worse. I don't want to talk about Trump government because I don't live in the States and really don't know what's going on there. I get plenty of messages from people saying that you should watch this, you should read this, you should listen to this, and to fully understand what's happening in the States. So I'll look into that, but you know, the government here is what we're dealing with, and you know, some people love Pedro Sanchez. You know, some people think that he's the greatest prime minister this country's ever seen, and they'll probably put up a statue in their backyard when his time is up. But a lot of people would say that that is not the case. Depends on which newspaper you read, but the proof is there. The proof is there, again, with corruption. Or alleged corruption, let's say. Super sticker from RU44. Thanks for that. $4.99. Great for your contribution to the channel. Thank you very much. It's not smoke and mirrors in Chiclana de la Frontera. The locals can't get affordable rent due to tourism. I think Chiclana de la Frontera would have always been a place with high summer tourism, mainly Spanish tourism, I would say. Benidorm, correct me if I'm wrong. And there would be apartments down there that are always looking for that. I don't know how many people are visiting Chiclana de la Frontera in February or March. But I reckon that in the months of July and August, it's a chock-a-block full of local people. That would be my suggestion. I reckon you get too many foreigners in Chiclana de la Frontera, but I could be wrong. Christine is in the chat, valued member. I have two friends that have been forced to move from their long-term rental recently because their landlord stated a family member needed the apartment only for it to go up as a short-term rental. Yeah, well, you know, is it the tourist or is it the landlord? Is it the chicken or was it the egg that came first? I don't know. But that's the same situation. The landlord could quite happily have a long-term tenant in there, but they choose to go into the short-term market because the dollar signs are blinding them. I would say. John says here, I believe that low wages are to blame for the fact that Spanish people find it hard to buy houses. Lots of people that come to live in Spain work as self-employed, so are better off. John, yeah, low wages are an issue. That's the model here in Spain for many, many sectors. Low salaries, high cost of living, of course, now affecting them. And that's one of the reasons why they can't get that. Digital nomads have come into the country as well with higher salaries. According to the conditions, to get that digital nomad visa, you have to have, a certain amount guaranteed every month, which is a lot higher than the average salary here. So, it's a problem that needs to be dealt with on various fronts, I think. Moxie's saying, not smoke and mirrors in Torre Almeria either. Long-term rental all year round as scarce as a rocking horse's doo-doo. It also has gone up in rental prices. Yeah, but again, Moxie, I'm sure that part there of the country is summer tourism related. But again, I could be wrong. But again, talk to the landlords that are taking their properties off the long term. Ask them why. Maybe they'll give you something that has got to do with the housing laws. I got no idea. We Latinos say Murcia, or Murcia. Really? Yeah, well, here in Spain, mainland Spain anyway, it's Murcia. My criticism was not so much at how you would say it in America Latina, because obviously it's the same pronunciation except for the S sound, but it's the foreigners that have trouble with Murcia, like the Mersey River, Murcia. Charlie the Chase, did I see the article about the fatal car crash with the Portuguese football players? Yes, I did. Charlie, Portuguese or Liverpool football player of Portuguese origin, I think, driving his Lamborghini, I think was the car reported, overtaking another car. Don't know what speed he was overtaking at, but apparently a tyre blew out, crashed, went up in flames, and that was the end of the football player, who recently got married, I think 2 weeks ago, so very sad news there for his family. And his brother died as well, so I think it was his brother. Yeah, his brother was also a football player in the second leagues in Portugal, also dying again. So there's a moral to that story. I don't know what it is yet, but I'm sure we'll find out the reasons for the crash, and we'll see what the moral is. But I think we can get an idea driving a Lamborghini on some of those roads in that part of the country. Zamora was the province, close to the Portuguese border, obviously on his way home or on his way back. Not sure exactly where he was going, but Lamborghini. Playa de Levante in Benidorm. Thanks for that, Andrew. It is indeed the picture that we have behind us. What does the little crown mean beside our names in the chat? The crown, I think, Andrew, if I'm not mistaken, I don't know the chat that you're looking at. Let me see if I can find it. The little crown, I think, is recognition of the amount of times that you have contributed in the live chat section. They're giving people crowns, I think, to show the appreciation for your regular comments and commitment to the channel. I think that's it. Gerard saying they don't want tourists anyway, so who cares about their image? Who doesn't want tourists, Gerard? Who doesn't want tourists? A couple of hundred people that protest every now and again that they don't want tourists? Yes, the bull's testicles and chips are to die for. Not sure what that's related to, but thanks for the comment there, Wareside Jack. Harry saying, try the what's this? Try the cuisine or try the cuisine. It amazes me how I have a hard time to find a decent Spanish breakfast in tourist towns in Spain. It seems there's only British breakfast. Well, if you go to a Spanish bar, Harry, that is catering to the local, you won't find a British breakfast. If you look around at the British bars, you'll find British breakfasts, of course, but Spanish bars are not really famous for elaborate breakfasts. Maybe you'll get a piece of toast where you put some tomato on it, some olive oil. Maybe you'll get like a donut or a churro. There'll be other types of pastries available, maybe a croissant or a Napolitana. But the stock standard breakfast here for many people that are eating breakfast outside of the home, of course, is a piece of toast with virgin or extra virgin olive oil on it and some freshly, I'm not going to use the word squeezed tomato, but freshly, what's the word in the blend? Freshly blended tomato is the word that I'm looking for. And that would be the breakfast. So that's what you need to keep your eye out for there, Harry. But I'm not necessarily talking about breakfast, but the other multiple options that you have when it comes to lunch, rather than, eating a kebab. Ola from Ibiza, says DJ K. Marie. Obviously working in Ibiza there. There we go. Thanks for that. What else we got going on? Giles is saying, unblur, Stu. Unblur. It's unblurred, my man. It's unblurred. Kev's in the chat. Hoping everyone is well. We'll catch up later. Thanks for that. John saying, don't know if this is for me or for someone else, but saying, have you ever visited Benidorm, Alicante? I hear it's a favourable microclimate. Thanks, John. Yes, I have visited, if that's addressed to me, the question. I have visited Benidorm on a few occasions. 4, maybe 5 occasions. Microclimate, perhaps. But it's hot. This time of the year it's hot and it's humid. Andrian coming in here from Berlin, looking to relocate in October to Spain, and have to wonder what, with the new short-term rental regulatory laws, I imagine that is, do you think they'll switch to long-term rentals? Well, the government's trying to get people to switch, offering incentives and things like this. Doesn't seem to be working at the moment. They're trying to get short-term rentals off the platforms like Airbnb, Booking, and the like. But the government, whatever they're doing, is not working yet. We'll see if we get something happening by 2030, maybe. I'm not sure, but things don't tend to work very quickly here. What else we got going on? Let's have a look. Twice cancelled relatives' flights 2 months apart. There we go. That must be the EasyJet. Ironically, Las Vegas is not hot, according to Robert. Barely 30 degrees Celsius midday. That's good. Petamorph saying that the cannabis industry is going to show up in Bilbao next year for Spanibus after years in Barcelona. There we go. One for cannabis fans. What is it? Some type of show. Martin's in the chat. Where's Martin today? Avignon, France. Martin gets around, I will say that. Harry here saying, I'm getting through the comments. There seems to be a lot today. So we're getting through them. We've been going now for nearly 48 minutes. So I'm setting records today. Corruption may be there in the PSOE, but also in the PP. There are more PP politicians in jail because of corruption than in the Spanish Parliament. Well, I don't know whether that's true, Harry. Maybe there have been politicians pass through the doors of the prisons in the past from the PP party, but corruption is corruption. It doesn't matter what the political party is, it's the system. Some people would say it's called systemic corruption, if you like. Somebody also said maybe endemic was a word that you could use as well. I don't know, systemic, endemic, whatever the difference would be there. Fact of the matter is that people are just waiting to get into power and waiting to get their hands or look for opportunities to take the money. The money comes in too easily, not enough checks and balances, and it goes into someone's pocket. Call it the PP, call it the PSOE. Can't call the other political parties because they haven't been in power centrally. YouTubers coming in from a hot Torrevieja. What's up? Not a lot. Not a lot is up at the moment. Alexander just became a member. Thanks for joining, Alexander. Joining the club here. Little star beside your name. Thanks for that. Rio Gordo, Dog Soldier. Hail all here from there. Thanks for that. Grated tomato. Yeah, grated tomato. I think blended tomato is what I normally see. Maybe they do grated as well, but it'd be a bit messier, I think, to grate it. Just put it in the blender, zzz, zzz, and away you go. Tomate triturado. There we go. Yes, I think that would be blended triturado. Grated tomato with rubbed toast and the garlic. You don't really get garlic here in Madrid. Maybe you get that in Barcelona. Don't know. Mike's in the chat too, coming in from Vermilion, Alberta, Canada. 28 degrees there, Celsius. Many laughed out loud at the PP alliteration. Well done. Thanks for that. Christo saying, my friend's Airbnb got kicked off the platform and he's got a letter from the city with a big fine. The legislation is taking effect in some places for sure. Yes, Christo. I might have said Christy before, but Christo, yep. Well, these are relatively new things, I think. The Consumer Ministry, I think it is cracking down on this and cracking down on Airbnb as well. We saw it back in the day with Uber and ride-sharing companies, and now in any Spanish city, especially the big ones, all you see is Uber, basically. All you see is Uber. Heard a story the other day. Somebody was waiting to get home from somewhere. They went to a concert or one of these festivals, and it was just Uber after Uber after Uber after Uber. Didn't see any taxis. Uber after Uber. And I remember the taxi drivers were up in arms back in the day trying to get rid of Uber. Didn't work. And I don't know whether Airbnb is going to give up lightly either. We will see. We will see. Dirk saying here, so Derp, is this about the move to Spain? The dollar drop is making it painful, but escaping the US too is also important. Thanks for that. Andalusia, normal to put garlic on it. Thanks for that, Neymar. In Madrid, not so much, I will say. And I had something similar in the middle of Castilla the other day, and there was no garlic on it either. So maybe it's a thing from the south and Catalonia, don't know. Worst chores made simple. So much has changed in Madrid. What was once an administrative centre and capital city is now just a tourist attraction. Yes, some people would agree with you there. I've never seen so many tourists in the centre of the city when I've been there in recent times. Some places you just can't move because of foreign tourists. And I've mentioned it also recently as well. A friend of mine here said, I don't know whether locals will be able to go to the centre of Madrid soon. They'll be priced out because you'll be paying more for everything because tourists obviously have more money to spend. And Neymar saying the flights cancelled at short notice last night out of Gibraltar were cancelled because of a sea fog. There we go. So it wasn't due to any strike action. Thanks for that. We always get to the bottom of these issues through the chat section. Now I'm going to wrap the live stream up. I've been going for a record 53 minutes today, or at least I think it's a record, close to it anyway. I'll be back again on Sunday, maybe not. It depends if I'm traveling. I haven't finalized my travel plans yet, but I could be on the road on Sunday. But if I put a live stream out, you'll get a notification if you are subscribed to the channel, or stay tuned. Until then, hasta luego, hasta entonces, adios, bye-bye, and buenas noches.